Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. I am here through my podcast and my signature program to help you learn how to love yourself, how to drop the body image issues so you can lose the emotional weight and gain the confidence to look and feel irresistible at any size. Welcome back, everyone. So, you guys know that this podcast, Irresistible You, is all about body image, self love, self worth, confidence, and all of those things. And today, what I want to do is I want to break body image down. Like, we're going to dissect body image, okay? Because there are a lot of misconceptions out there about what body image means. And I actually see this on the regular inside of my free podcast discussion group on Facebook. So if you are not already part of our free podcast discussion group, you can join by clicking the link in the show notes. Or if you go onto Facebook directly, you can type Irresistible You in the search bar, go to groups, and you'll see the Irresistible You podcast discussion group. Request to join, answer those questions, and then I will approve access into the group. One of the questions I ask when you join the group is, what is your number one challenge with body image? Now, when I see your answers to this question, I see things across the board. I see things like people saying these one-word answers. For example, I see words like weight, fat rolls, loose skin, mom pooch, thunder thighs, big thighs, stomach. And so I see these like one word answers to a question about your challenge with body image. Now, if you've answered it like that, I want you to rest easy, girl. Like don't start stressing out, because it's not your fault. You don't know any better, because that's essentially what we're going to talk about today, is how we've been conditioned by so many things about the conversation around body image. And so what I want you to get out of this is I want you to use this as a learning opportunity to expand the way you speak and think about yourself, because that is so important. And so when we talk about body image and you're saying things like, well, my weight, my fat, my thighs, my stomach, those are not body image. Those are not challenges with body image. Okay? So that is like a very surface level. I don't want to get any deeper than that, so I'm just going to say weight, right? But body image is not about your weight, your fat rolls, your size, your cellulite, your loose skin, okay? When you answer that question by saying weight, again, that's a very surface level answer, because body image is much deeper than your weight. Body image is really about the feelings, the thoughts, the beliefs that you have about your weight. Okay, so there's a big difference in that. And so, for example, I've seen, I see all kinds of answers. I also see people that go very deep and share very intimate, vulnerable things. And I always appreciate that so much, because part of this journey of becoming Irresistible You is you being willing to go there. And to go there means to get vulnerable, to share more than just a surface level answer of weight, okay? And so body image is about how you personally experience your body. So here's a great example. If you're saying my number one challenge to body image is my weight, I want you to take that a little bit deeper and describe, what does that feel like for you? So when you think about your weight, what are the beliefs, thoughts, and feelings that you have about what that weight means to you? So here's a great example. So I have other women that have answered this question like, I feel invisible. And so the weight has made them feel as if they've become invisible to the world. I've seen answers like, I don't want to do things anymore with my kids because I don't want to be seen. Or I don't want to go out with friends because I don't want to show up in tagged pictures on social media, because then everybody's going to see my weight gain. And so see, it's not about the weight as much as it is about what the weight means in your life. And so when the weight means you're not showing up and playing with your kids, or you're turning invitations down to your friends and you don't want to be seen in pictures and you feel invisible, that is the body image stuff. Okay? Body image is all of those perceptions, beliefs, thoughts, feelings, and even actions that pertain to your outward appearance. So even if you say things like, which I know, like for me, I don't like my stomach. My stomach is a part of my body that I really dislike. I don't have a hatred of it like I used to. I used to have like really bad body image issues. And here's the thing, my stomach is not what stopped me, and your stomach is not what stops you from wearing a bathing suit. It's the belief that you have that if I wear a bathing suit in this body with this stomach, I'm going to be judged, and I'm not willing to put my feelings and emotions on the line to wear this bathing suit because of what somebody may or may not say. Do you see the difference? And so it's not your weight or your roles that are preventing you from living your life. They're not the things that are making you invisible. The way that you like process those beliefs, thoughts, and feelings that's what's causing you to feel invisible. Okay? So it's this story and this like narrative that we build up in our mind about what those things about our body mean to us, or if we have a scar or something like that, and we always think, well, people are just staring at my scar. Even if they're not doing that, that's the story that you've created in your head. And so this is why, so here's the thing, like your size and your weight are not equal to your body image. Just because you're overweight doesn't mean you have a shitty body image. And just because you're society level thin doesn't mean you have an amazing body image, right? And this is why we see people that can lose all of their weight, lose 100+ pounds and get to their goal weight and then have the loose skin surgery, and they're still like battling this woman inside of them that they don't like. Because that is body image. Body image essentially is that relationship that you have with yourself. And if you don't get anything else out of the podcast and the content that I create, the most important thing in this life that you can do is to create the most loving, amazing relationship with yourself. Because that is how you break through all of this stuff. And okay, so let's just then move into so why does this even matter, right? So for a lot of people, they think, well, looks don't matter. This isn't a big deal. I feel guilty because I shouldn't be putting all this emphasis on my outward appearance. And you might be dealing with that too. You might be dealing with this inner battle with yourself where you feel guilty that you're even spending so much time worrying about what you look like because you've been conditioned, be a good girl, don't worry too much about what you look like. It's not that important. There's more important things in the world, like world hunger, okay? But I'm calling bullshit, because when we don't feel comfortable in the body that we are living in, that is a conflicting, miserable place to be. Because since the day you were born, no matter what you're doing, you have to do what you're doing in the body that you're in right now. And if you don't like the body that you're in because you have horrible body image, chances are 99.9% sure you don't love the person that lives in that body. And that person is you. And so there is a big disconnect from you. And when I say you, I mean your inner, your heart, your soul, who you are as a person without the physical stuff. You can't have horrible body image where you're beating yourself up and talking shit to yourself all the time and then have this loving relationship with yourself. That doesn't work. They do not exist together. And so that's why body image is so important. It is not this surface level vanity issue that we all just need to get over. Okay? Because when you have body image that doesn't match with your inner self and who you want to be, I say this all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it till the last breath I ever take, it will infect every area of your life. Like a disease, it will come in and it will infect everything. So, for example, if you don't love yourself, if you don't accept the body that you're in, you're constantly going to feel paranoid and self conscious that every single person around you is staring at you, thinking, oh my God, they're in your mind, they're thinking all the nasty inner fat bitch thoughts that you have. And you don't know what they're thinking or not. And they're probably not thinking anything as nasty and mean as you are. So when you have the inner fat bitch talking to yourself like, look at you, you big fat bitch. Who do you think you are wearing that bathing suit? Who do you think you are wearing shorts? You have a lot of nerve to be wearing those shorts, girl. You know that inner dialogue that you have. And so in your mind, when you have that inner dialogue, everybody in the room is thinking the same thing. And that's not true. That is a story and a thought that you have created that you don't even have evidence to support. And so when you constantly feel judged and self-conscious and paranoid, what happens? You start to isolate. You start to tell your kids, no, I'm not going to the pool with you. You start to say no to invitations from your friends. Why? Because you don't want to be seen, because you don't want to be judged, because you don't want someone to possibly say something or think something that might hurt your feelings. And so rather than saying yes, knowing that somebody might say something, somebody might give me a look, but so what? You just say no and you isolate and you make yourself smaller and smaller and smaller to compensate for you thinking you're too big. Okay? So it's not a vanity surface level issue because now your relationships are suffering, your friendships are suffering. And when I say relationships, I mean your kids, your work relationships, everything suffers because you start to isolate and you start to play small. And instead of standing up for yourself, you don't stand up for yourself. You just accept bullshit from people. Things even like asking for a refund because the food that you got was ruined. Because in your mind, you don't want to ask for a refund because they're going to think something about the fat girl. They're going to have a comment or they're, and so rather than stand up for yourself, you don't. Because of something that somebody might say or think about you. So you just accept stuff. And so then you're not happy. And then all this not happiness turns into sadness and maybe depression and anxiety. You become socially awkward and you stop going out. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to talk to people. Because these thoughts about your body are so obsessive that you can't separate what you're thinking from what other people are thinking. And what other people are thinking doesn't matter. And even your relationships, whether you're married or you're in a long-term relationship, this stuff goes deep, guys. Because when you don't feel good in your body, do you think you're having sex and being intimate? Yeah, we're going there today, y'all. We're going there. Because this is real. And this is deep. This is not, don't judge a book by its cover, surface level bullshit. This is infection. This infects every part of your life if you don't get a grip on it. And when you are so disgusted, when you stand in that mirror naked, about to go jump in that shower, and I've been there where you can't even look at it. You don't even want to look at your body in the mirror. You're so disgusted by it. Do you really think you're dropping your clothes and having, crazy passionate sex with your partner? Probably not. And when you stop having that level of intimacy with your partner, your relationship, it's going to suffer. It's going to drive a wedge. Because intimacy is also not just about having sex. It's about having these deeper conversations and like relating to your spouse or your partner on this level, like this much deeper level. And when you're so wrapped up in your own bullshit and your own body image stuff, you're going into this shell of isolation and you're not having these vulnerable, deep conversations, and you sure as hell aren't having actual sex either. And that's a problem. It's a problem because now your relationships are suffering. Your relationships with your kids, your partners, your job, even. Because you don't want to ruffle feathers at work. So you don't speak up when stuff is bad. You don't speak up when something needed to be said. You don't apply for that promotion because if you apply for that promotion, you're going to have to travel more and you're going to have to be seen more and maybe you're going to have to be speaking on stage more. And it just becomes, like I said, it's infectious. It's an infection and we have to fix it. We have to cure it. And so body image really matters because it's not just about what you look like. Again, it's about the perceptions, beliefs, thoughts, feelings you have about you. And that your body and who you are not two separate things. You're all this one thing. And so when there's this big disconnect, you're not showing up in your life. And so ultimately, it changes the way you act. It changes the decisions that you make. It then leads you down this path, like I said, of getting, isolating yourself, depression, anxiety, and then more emotional eating because emotional eating is so much easier in that moment than to stand in the mirror naked, so to speak, and deal with your shit. So then essentially it boils down to, like I talked about this last week, you're wasting your life away with all of these thoughts that are holding you back. Okay? So it really matters, and you've got to get a grip on this. You've got to decide that you're going to work on this, because if you don't, all of those things that we just talked about are going to continue to suffer. So let's move into, where does all of this shit come from in the first place? Where does the thoughts that we have around body image, where does our body image come from in the first place? So body image comes from a lot of different places, okay? I talk a lot about in my program, and if you have my free action plan, you've also seen this a little bit as a preview. But one of the guiding principles to become Irresistible You is called break the rules. And the reason it's called break the rules is because a lot of the stuff that we carry with us around body image, they have become these rules that we created for our life and ourselves. And so I like to think about, thinking about all the body image stuff as rules. And the rules came from and come from past experiences with friends, with family, with peers. It also comes from messaging from the media that's around us and society standards, society norms that are shoved down our throat that are utter bullshit. And experiences as well. Like I said, and experiences could be, things that happened to you, things that were said to you, things that were not said to you. It's a culmination of all of these different things, right? And then they all boil up into the rules that you then end up creating for yourself. So let me just take you down a path of my own journey, because while your story might be similar or different to mine, I think regardless, you can maybe pull from your own experiences by hearing mine. Now, I have been overweight since I was in elementary school, since I was a little kid. And I was bullied severely in elementary and middle school because of my weight. I can remember the first time someone said to me, this one guy, it was in the library, I think it was third grade, and he pulls me aside like he had this big, secret to tell. And he's like, I got to tell you something. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I just want you to know. And he like whispers and gets all quiet. He's like, I just want you to know that you're not like the other kids in the class. You're not like the other girls. And I just okay. He's like, because you're fat. He's like, I just wanted you to know you're fat. As if he was like giving me this earth-shattering, breaking news story that, hey, you're fat, you're not like everyone else. And I have to say, at the time, it probably did feel that way to me, because when you're younger, sometimes you don't even think you're different until some little kid and some asshole tells you you're different. right? And I just clearly can remember that kind of being the first time someone telling me, you're different. And I have felt different my entire life. I have always been the different one, the odd one, the like march to the own beat of my drum type of person, and like always knew I was the oddball out in my class and in school and stuff like that. So I was bullied again all through elementary, all through middle school. You guys, like I used to get on the bus, and the entire bus, when I would get on, by the time it got to my stop, I could get on the bus and everyone would be chanting, calling me names. Like the whole bus is quiet and they're chanting and like just singling me out from everybody else, saying fat ass, fat girl, hey bitch, you want a donut, thunder thighs. I mean, and this is like elementary, middle school, you guys. And I could do a whole podcast series on the bullying and the things that happened and the things that were said, because there were so many different times. And so when you start to take all those experiences and you compound, like you just think about you're making a layer cake and you're layering and layering and layering. Hey, fat girl. Hey, fatty. Hey, tub of lard. Hey, fat bitch. And you're just layering them on and on and on and on. You start to internalize and develop rules about what that means to be you. And that's what I did. I internalized, these are the rules and this is what it means to be Amy. And then there's other experiences. There's things like when I was in 7th grade, we were playing some, like they made everybody in the classroom stand up. Because I think they were getting ready to do some bullshit kickball game. I don't know. I hate sports. Anyway, so they make everybody stand up. They pick the two hottest guys, the two jocks, the ones that I thought were the cutest guys in the class. Always had a crush on them. I knew they knew that I didn't exist because I was always invisible to them. They make them stand up as the captains, and they told them, pick your team. Not like everybody, 1, 2, 3, and pick numbers. I mean, literally, pick your team. Pick your dream teams. And one by one, they picked the hot girls, the athletic girls, the jock guys, all the popular kids, then all the emo kids and all the dorks, were picked, starting to get picked towards the end. And one by one, y'all, they're like dropping like flies in their seats. Boom, boom, boom. And here I am, 12-year-old Amy, little chubby 12-year-old Amy with her glasses. And I don't remember which one of them, but one of them was like her. To them, I didn't have a name. They didn't look me in the eyes. It was just like I was picked by default because I was the last person standing. And I can just remember that warm wave of shame and humiliation, and like I just want to go home and I want to bury myself in my books and I want to run away from the world and I don't want to deal with people ever again. And that, I could share a million other examples of that. So you take these types of experiences and they form and shape your identity without you knowing, especially when you're younger like that. Because when you're young and you don't know any better, you don't have all of this access to self-help and coaching and, the things that we do here and the podcast and all of this kind of stuff, you don't know any better. And when you're that young, all you want to do is fit in and be accepted. And when you have, and I mean never fit in, never been accepted, and the only reason that you haven't fit in and been accepted is because you're considered fat, your identity is the fat girl, what does that do to you? What does that do to you? That was my identity. And that has been so hard for me to drop. That is why even years later, before I started doing all this work, and I would still hear someone say fat girl, not to me, but like just to say the word, I like cringe when I would hear that. Because there was even like in middle school where my best friend and I at the time, we had been playing all day at the beach, hanging out with these guys, and everybody had three-way calling back in the day before cell phones, y'all. And this was the late 90s, okay? And we called them afterwards, like they didn't know I was on the phone because that's what, giggly teenage girls do. And I'm talking about all day long. We had been at the beach, we had been swimming, we were just like all over the place, like the way we used to play as kids before phones were invented. And we're like 15 at the time. And one of the first things out of his mouth was, "Did the fat girl go home yet?" I kid you not. Did the fat girl go home yet? Not, did Amy make it home okay? Did Amy go home already? No, did the fat girl go home yet? And I just remember hanging the phone up, pretending like I got disconnected, because to pretend or to acknowledge that I heard him meant that I had to acknowledge what he said, which would, God forbid, I didn't want to make him embarrassed because I just didn't want to go there. So think about yourself and your life and like these experiences that you have and like things that kids maybe said to you, your classmates, your friends, your family, even your parents, things that people said. And it's not even just the things they say, it's the looks. So like, did certain family members give you these like unapproving looks when you wore certain things, or like when you would eat certain foods? They would give you that. And if you know, there's like a look. And so think about stepping back a minute and like, okay, where did all this come from for me? Because it's not like, you guys, I became 25 years old and I was emotionally eating and having a bad day and going, well, shit, I'm emotionally eating and gaining weight again because of what Brad and Chris said to me on the bus, 15 years ago. It doesn't work that way. It's like embedded in the subconscious in a sense. And until you stop and question and get curious, you kind of have tucked it all away. Like, I always knew it was there, but it's not like I'm sitting there going, well, the reason I keep yo-yo dieting and gaining and losing and gaining and losing is because I think that I'm a fat piece of shit because of all these things that happened to me and that I don't deserve happiness. That comes from doing the work. You get to that point. But it's not like on a conscious level you're sitting there like, well, I guess that's why I keep gaining the weight. And so that's the thing, is you try to fix yourself through these diets, these bullshit diets, these detox teas, these 30-day cleanses, all this dumb shit that's all over the internet right now. And then when you can't do it because it's unrealistic to be able to do it, you just keep saying, how come I know what to do but I just can't do it? Well, it's because you haven't fixed the rules. You haven't rewritten your rules. And so when you're living your life thinking you're a fat piece of shit that doesn't deserve happiness, and then you're trying to do a 30-day juice cleanse, it's not the juice cleanse, it's the beliefs that you have about yourself and what you do and do not deserve. And that's what we have to fix. If you do not fix the body image stuff, none of the other weight loss stuff is going to work. If weight loss is one of your goals, you better get this body image stuff fixed. Because otherwise, you're just going to keep cycling through the ups and downs the rest of your life. And even if weight loss isn't your goal, you're constantly looking for that fix somewhere else. From the diets, from the surgeries, from the whatevers. And if you don't have this relationship with yourself, you don't have a foundation. And if you don't have a foundation, you can't be secure in yourself and your decisions and like lead your life in a way that you want to be leading it to create what you really want. And so those rules from those experiences, they ultimately form your identity. And so for me, my identity was, I'm the fat girl. And so the rule, and there's several rules that you have, but my overarching rule was, I'm just the fat girl that nobody loves, nobody likes, nobody wants to hang out with, none of the guys want. Because it was always guys. It was guys. And because of that, I don't deserve happiness until I lose the weight. So I'm going to wait for the weight to wear this cute outfit or, all these different things. And so, just going back to where body image comes from, I also just want to add to, like, the messaging and the media stuff, all of that forms who you are as well and the way you think about yourself. And when all you ever see on TV and the media are these skinny, size 2 women, you start to believe, well, that's the standard. Like, that's the standard, right? So, um, and nowadays I feel like that has changed so much, because back in the day, it really was like whatever you watched on TV and read in a magazine, it was spoon fed to you because those were the only options. You didn't have the options to be like, well, shit, I'm canceling cable and I'm going to only watch Netflix, or I'm going to only watch YouTube. And then I'm going to go on Instagram and I'm going to look at other plus size, curvy, beautiful women to get fashion tips and ideas and inspiration, instead of scrolling through 17 magazine or Cosmo at these, like, what they used to call heroin chic models that I can't see myself in. So that's a piece of it too. And then also for me, like growing up back in the day in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was nowhere else to shop. If you were overweight and you were past a size 14, where the hell were you supposed to buy clothes? Lane Bryant? And back in the day, Lane Bryant and those other stores, their clothes were hideous. They were like these loud, disgustingly ugly, like grandma clothes. And my God, they have changed. They've got some fashionable stuff now, and there's so many other options. But like, I remember in middle school having to shop in the JCPenney's Husky catalog. What the fuck does that do to your self-esteem? I have to shop in the Husky catalog because I'm that different from every other kid. Here I am, the odd one out, the fat girl, in the Husky catalog. So the point of all of this is not to get stuck in the past, because that is dangerous. We don't get stuck in, well, if Chris and Brad and so and so, wouldn't have said this to me, then I wouldn't still be fat. And if my mom or my aunt or my grandma wouldn't have given me those looks or said this or that to me, then I would have lost all my weight, 25 years ago. The point of looking backwards for a minute is to put a pause and a stop in the cycle. Because right now your cycle is the zombie walk of, I just do what I do and I don't know why, and I'm such a victim, and I'm woe is me, and this is just my life and I'm always going to be like this. And instead saying, whoa, why am I like this? Where did this come from? Like, why do I believe the things I believe? What do I believe about myself? It's kind of taking a wrench and throwing it in the cycle and saying, like, wait a second. I deserve to get curious and ask these questions. And I want you to hear this. Asking the questions and getting curious and learning the truth of what you believe, it's not going to kill you and it's not going to hurt you. And that's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of feeling hurt. You're afraid of revisiting. And I want you to just understand that just because this happened to you, just because this was said to you, doesn't mean this is your destiny. It doesn't mean you have to keep believing these things. I look back at some of these bullies I had. I've seen you on Facebook. I saw you on Facebook, boo. And boy, had the tables turned. Things didn't work out so great for you, did they? And maybe that's vindictive. I don't care. It is satisfying to see people that were so mean to you not living the dream. Not living the dream at all. And I have turned that pain into this beautiful, amazing passion and purpose that is bigger than myself. And this is what I get to do now. And that's beautiful to me. And I look back on those people too, and it's like, I feel sorry for them. I pity them. Because what in God's name was going on in your home that you found it necessary to go to school and pick on a little girl over and over, and like, why were you so obsessed with me? Why were you so obsessed with my body that you had to make a statement in front of everybody else to make yourself feel better? What was your mom and dad doing or not doing to you? Like, you weren't getting enough hugs and enough love if you were the one bullying other people. And so I look back on them and I feel sorry for them. I really do. So the thing is, when you've had this identity your whole life of I'm just the fat girl, I'll never be able to do this. I'll do this when I lose the weight. I don't want anyone to notice me. I don't want to make noise. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I'm not good enough. Weight loss is the only way out that I'll ever be able to feel good about myself. Your life is constantly stuck in that yo-yo diet body hate shame cycle because you don't believe you can do any better. You don't believe you deserve any better. And I'm here to tell you that you do. Whether you believe that now or not, I want you to know that I believe in you, even if you can't see it for yourself yet. And so, what now? What do you do with this information now that we've gotten through this episode? What do you do with this? Well, number one, the number one thing that I want you to do is I want you to get curious AF, and I want you to break the rules. I want you to break the rules. And the way that you break the rules is what we talked about, is I want you to take a step back. I want you to get quiet. I want you to sit in the uncomfortable feelings, and I want you to write down and think about, what are your rules? What do you tell yourself? What do you tell yourself? And it can be as simple as, I don't wear stripes because they make me look wide. I don't wear shorts because my legs are too fat. Or I didn't go back to school because I didn't deserve it. I'm not going to the beach and the pool this summer with my kids because I don't want to be seen until I lose the weight. I don't deserve happiness. I'm going to wait and make that Match.com profile once I lose enough weight. What are your rules? What are your rules? Write them down, and then we have to rewrite them into something that is helpful to building our body image and ultimately the relationship we have with ourselves. So, for example, mine was, I don't deserve happiness until I reach my goal weight. I changed that, and this is the heart and soul of Irresistible You. I deserve to be happy now, whether I get to my goal weight or not. Whether I get to my goal weight or not, I'm not going to wait around for someday when it may or may not happen. I'm going to live my damn life now, and I'm going to be happy now because I deserve to have it now. Weight loss is not a prerequisite for happiness. And so we don't, the advice is not, go love your bodies now. Yeah, woo, oh my God. Because that's not going to happen right away. And it may never happen. I don't look in the mirror and go, oh man, I love my gut. I love my fat stomach. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't beat myself up about it. I just, see it. And I'm like, okay. But I don't let it dictate whether or not I deserve to have the things in life that I want. Where in the past it was like, oh, I can't wear a bathing suit, or I can't go do that because I have a fat stomach. I don't give a shit anymore. If I lose it, I lose it. If I don't, I don't. So be it. But that's not going to ruin my life, and that's not going to put my life on hold with my family for the time that I can never have back. Do you understand? And so you got to go break the rules, and you got to rewrite the rules. And the second thing I want you to do is, girl, I need you to take back your power. Because every single time you stay in the past or you put it off to the future, so what I mean by that is every time, and this was one thing I used to do. Well, I remember in 6th grade, I started a journal and I wrote, the first day of my new life, I'm going to finally lose weight. And everything in my life is going to change. I hope I can find that journal somewhere. If so, I'm going to screenshot and we're going to be sharing that joint. And I remember thinking, this is it. And for years, I would dwell on, if I just would have lost the weight in 6th grade, everything would be good by now. And so that's what I want you to do. I don't want you dwelling on the past about what could have, should have, would have done, because it doesn't matter anymore. It's done. What was said was said, what was done, and the only thing you can do now is to move forward. And so every single time you live in the past, you don't own your power. You are disempowered. That doesn't mean Like, the things that happen to you aren't going to go away. It just means you get to a place where you're like, well, that happened. And I get to now change the way I think and feel about it. And I get to create my new life. And I get to create my new rules. But if you keep living in the old rules of what coulda, shoulda, woulda happened, you're going to stay where you are right now. And so I want you to take back your power. And you also take back your power when you stop putting everything off into the future as well. Yes, we want goals. Yes, we want things to accomplish and look forward to. What I mean by this is every time, if you're listening to this now and you're like, well, this is great. This is all good. Good for her. I can't do it. Maybe I'll start doing it next month. Maybe I'll start next year. Every single time you put all of that off into a future date that you haven't actually committed to and planned for, you're also taking your power away by putting it off into the future, because you're saying, I don't have to own this right now. When you can own your shit, when you can stand in that, that is the most empowering thing you can do for yourself. And so what I want you to do is I want you taking back your power by owning your situation and learning how to now rewrite your new rules and move forward. And the way that you're going to do that is you start before you're ready, because you're not ready right now. You're not going to feel ready. And so that's what happens as well, is you're like, well, maybe I could get a little bit of this weight off first, then I could feel good about myself. No, you start now before you're ready. Well, I'll get that cute sequin dress when I lose 50 pounds. No, girl, you go buy the sequin dress now. You see me on my Instagram. You see me rocking my sequin dress. I ain't no size 2. Okay? You see the rolls. I don't care. And if anybody else has a problem with it, bye, Felicia. I don't care. Because I'm going to do me, and I'm going to do me now. I'm not waiting for the weight. I'm not sitting around waiting to be some bullshit standard size that everybody on TV and magazines told me I need to be, because that's not me. And so you do it now by wearing the cute outfits, the shorts, the clothes, doing things for yourself, getting your hair done, doing your makeup, and getting out and living your life with no apologies. Because you don't owe anybody an apology for living your life and being you. And so you do things now before you're ready to do it. You do things now by taking action. Taking imperfect action to build your confidence, to feel better about yourself. Because you don't build your body image by just saying, well, I deserve to be happy. That's not all it takes. That's one piece of it. You find happiness by getting out and being happy, right? The best example I can give you guys is before my daughter was born, the year prior, I was on my weight loss journey. I was losing a ton of weight. And it was the whole kayak story. We got our kayaks, and I was terrified of the whole situation. And it was hot as hell. It's Virginia in the summer. It's hot. And I didn't have shorts because I hadn't worn shorts in years. And I was like, well, maybe I'll wait. I'll wait a few more months, get some more of this weight off. And I was like, Amy, it's 90 degrees outside. It's hot. It's humid. You're going to be in the beating sun all day long. Go get some shorts. Just run your ass up to Walmart. It doesn't need to be fancy. Go up to Walmart, get you a pair of shorts, and stop worrying about the number. Because I was so worried about, oh man, I don't know what size they're going to be, and blah, 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 blah. Nobody sees the number but you. So stop. And here's the thing. If you're a size 18 or a size 20, you're still a size 20 whether you buy the jeans or not. Everyone can see you. So not buying cute clothes and things that make you comfortable and feel good and feminine and irresistible, the only person you're hurting is yourself. Because it's not like the size that you are is some big effing secret to the rest of the world. So you might as well find things that are cute and fit and flatter the body you have now. Stop trying to think about the body that you want and shop for the body you have now. And the more you do that, the more you put yourself out there and buy the clothes and wear the clothes and put the shorts on that you haven't worn in 15 years, the more you build your body image and your confidence. Because sitting at home, writing it down and thinking about it all the time, that's not going to do it. You've got to do that work, but then you got to take the actions. And the body image improves in the action taking. Okay? Bottom line, y'all, get out, live your damn life, stop waiting for the wait. And I want you to understand that you deserve that. You deserve to live the life you crave and the life you deserve. Because I know you crave it, but do you know if you deserve it? You have to believe that. You really do. And that's what body image is all about. So again, to sum everything up, body image is not you saying my weight, my stomach. It's what that symbolizes for you and how that manifests into your thoughts and your feelings and your actions that you're taking or not taking because of what it means to you to be overweight or not like your stomach. So, let me know what questions you have. How are you working on your body image? What does body image mean to you? Let's talk about it over in the free podcast discussion group on Facebook. Again, that is linked in the show notes. Go in, answer the questions, think about your answers, and I will get those approved for you. If this podcast is helping you or has helped you in any way, would you please do me a favor and please share this with a friend or go over into iTunes and leave a rating and review. Thank you so much for listening. Until the next one, stay irresistible.